Okay, dear friends, good evening. Glad to see you all at our today's meeting. It is the 11th of July, 2024, 1800 hours, 18:10 hours Kiev time. And now we are starting our live broadcast where we're going to look into several important aspects or points that relate to all of us, to more so to some of us, but anyways, it does affect everyone present at this conference today. Before we start the discussion of the topics that I'm going to tell you about, let's check again the technical side of it. Can you see me? Can you hear me? If everything is fine, give me a 10. If there are some issues, give me a score from 1 to 10 on how well everything is heard or visible. I see mostly tens, so my logical conclusion here is that you can see me loud and hear me loud and clear, and the connection is fine. Those partners who are present here today and are experiencing connectivity issues or sound issues, so most probably the problem is at your side. So if right now you are still experiencing some difficulties, then you will be able to watch our recording that will be published the next day after our conference or 2 days later on Saturday. And I would like to see the geography of our participants. We have 90 people in the Russian-speaking room. Unfortunately, I cannot see other rooms. So let's make like a geographical roll call. So what city and country you are from? Someone says Baku, Azerbaijan. Great. Almaty, Kazakhstan. Kyrgyzstan. Moscow, France. Almaty, Kazakhstan. Astana, Kazakhstan. Well, I see lots of partners from Kazakhstan, from Far East. Kashkitau, Israel. Great. We have people from the Black Sea. Well, that's where I live, by the Black Sea side. It's quite a huge sea. I see the Czech Republic, Czechia. Well, great friends. I'm glad that we have a quite vast geography that is growing every conference, and we have different regions, different countries joining our broadcast, joining our meeting. Well, Canada, I see Andre Gauthier. Welcome. By the way, Andre, I wanted to ask you one thing. You wrote to me directly. You asked me some work-related questions. So if you can, please write to me those questions again, because last time I asked you if you already had written to me in the past. Please do it again, because there are some things that I would gladly discuss with people from RSW systems that show more initiative. So we have things to talk about. So dear friends, if you have questions, proposals, initiatives, they are always welcome. And I'm ready to go back to our dialogue. Suraj, I would very much ask you to repeat your message, because I cannot see your message in Telegram, cannot find your message in Telegram. Victor, I will answer your questions tonight. There will be separate time allocated, because did not quite understand your question right now, so I'm gonna put it down. Just give me a second. Dear friends, please note Victor's question. He asked why everything that has been bought using the investors' money and has not been yet allocated and turned into shares. A very good question, and I have an answer to that question. And I will gladly answer that question today. If I skip it, just remind me in the chat. There will be a separate time slot allocated to the Q&A session and this question in particular. Today we're going to split our meeting into 3 different stages, topics, categories, dear friends. At first, we're going to talk about the latest achievements and results of the engineering technology, which is the string technology and the string technology development in the transportation market, which shows quite a lot of positive dynamics and gives us optimism. And it deserves special attention from our side. We're going to look into it. Next, we're going to look into additional questions and complaints that I read about and the comments that I read about under the video. The recording of our meeting is published. So you must have noticed that we do not delete any kind of comments, no matter what people write about, with an exception when people start getting personal, when they cross certain lines. And of course, in this case, we delete such comments and ban such people. But usually those people are dedicated haters and they have an intention to ruin the reputation of the string technology and the development of crowdfunding in general and our platform in particular. So the comments of such users are deleted, and such users will not be able to leave their comments anywhere else under our videos. But you must have noticed that no matter what kind of comment it is, as long as it is objective, will not and is not deleted. I'm sorry for diverting, because my assistant is writing to me that Hindi's translator has some bad audio. So our dear Hindi translator, could you please check your sound again? And dear partners from India, what about the rest of you? Is the sound good? And Ruslan, just please check whether the feedback is good, because it is very important for everyone to be in the same informational boat. So those partners who are listening to me in Hindi, could you please give me some feedback, give me a score on how well you can hear the Hindi translator. So in English, Andre says that it's 10 out of 10. Good. So, dear Indian partners, please give me your feedback. Someone says the sound is bad, worst. So I guess this is a problem. So while we are trying to set up the Hindi translation, I can continue what I was saying before. We appreciate the opinion of every partner, of every colleague of our platform. And my opinion is that everyone has the right to have an opinion. And the fact that we're not deleting any comments, we are giving the floor to everyone willing to provide their feedback under our YouTube videos, in Telegram. And we are as lenient as possible to every comment. Well, of course, sometimes in Telegram, people start crossing the so-called red lines. And then in this case, dear friends, please do not get offended if we ban such partners from our channel and prohibit them from writing anything. So in your opinion, this kind of attitude from our side is adequate? So we have both English and Russian speaking partners here who can hear me well enough. So please tell me whether such attitude to our users' feedback is adequate in your opinion. And while our colleagues are writing their answers, tell me what's the feedback in the Hindi room. So Ruslan is asking, what about the dividends? What about the contracts? Well, this is the question that everyone asks during every single meeting, and every time I answer, people are starting saying that Maxim is just talking nonsense, same old, but we're going to be as objective today as possible on this particular topic. And after we discuss this particular issue in depth, you will have a very good understanding when it's going to happen, the dividends, etc., and what you can do with this information personally. Yelena, I will answer you in person as well. So let's not start the Q&A session right now, because by doing it, we're skipping our stage one, the first category of our today's meeting, and then we will move on to the Q&A, criticism, complaints, and then I'm gonna have a very good piece of news for you at the end of the meeting, so please stick to the end. Of course, it's going to relate most to our active partners, but even passive partners will find this piece of information interesting. So right now, please do not ask your questions. I have 8 bullet points that our clients are interested in, and every single bullet point will be discussed. And by bullet points, I mean questions. So Ruslan, what do we have? What is the situation with our Hindi room? And if everything is fine, I'm ready to continue with our today's agenda. Ruslan, give me some feedback in Telegram, and if everything is okay, I will turn my Telegram off in order not to be distracted by the Telegram messages. So dear Hindi translator, I have a big request to you. Could you please leave the room and then re-enter, rejoin the room, the Zoom room? And then, or probably switch to a different internet provider, to a different Wi-Fi network, because we have some connectivity issues. So I don't want to get into a situation where partners that joined our meeting from India would not be able to listen to me. Of course, we will translate it into Hindi, but it would be very good to have live broadcast in Hindi. Alex is saying, when are you going to organize a meeting with Unitsky? Unitsky organizes a meeting with investors every 6 months. Not so long ago, Unitsky, together with the CEO of a string technologies company, issued a report on the activities of the company, and that's where they showed and told the participants, the attendees, about the results and achievements of the company. As for his meetings with him, look, dear friends, I think everyone should stick to what they are good at and what they're supposed to be doing. Anatoly's mission is to implement the string transportation technology, and he's given 100% of his time without any regard to days off, holidays. He's working 24/7, and still, despite all of it, 3 videos have been published on his personal channel where he's answering the questions asked by the investors in string transportation technology. And he releases such videos. So go to Anatoly Yunitsky channel and watch it there. So if you say that Anatoly keeps to the shadows and does not release any information about what he's doing or is not providing any feedback to us, the investors, this is not true. So most probably, Alex, you just don't know about it. Okay, dear friends. So Alex says, I'm talking about live broadcasts and not recorded Q&A videos. So, but what it's going to give you? We have like thousands of investors and people will ask their questions. How do you picture it yourself? So there are like a list of most frequently asked questions asked by the majority of the audience, and Dr. Yunitsky answers those questions. Well, your idea sounds good, but whether it is feasible, that's a totally different matter. It's not about even feasibility, whether it is admissible or adequate in the format that you proposed. I don't know. I see that everything seems to be okay with the Hindi translation as well. Now we can move on to the meeting itself and start it. Okay, so to recap, right now we're going to talk about the news in the development of the string transportation technology. Then we'll switch to Q&A and some urgent questions that were asked by the users and attendees regarding the last broadcast. Some people interpreted it in this way, someone interpreted it in a different way. So thank you very much, our Hindi participants, for your feedback. They say now that the sound is good. Some people say that it's just empty talk. Some people say that it's just like beating around the bush. It's like, you know what beating about around the bush means. So basically, it means like not doing anything or not saying anything useful. This is the opinion of some of the users regarding my last meeting and what I'm saying. But I will tell you that this is not exactly so, and I have a different opinion. So regarding the news from the company, right now we're going to the company's website and see what happened over the last months. So we had a meeting on the 20th of June. One second, please. Okay, dear friends, tell me if you can see my screen right now, because I'm screen sharing. Okay, you're telling me that everything is clear. Good. So the first piece of news that we can see, one of the recent news published here, is that UST Inc. is developing transportation infrastructural solution for one of the South Asian countries. And of course, they don't mention which country because of the non-disclosure agreement, because there is a confidentiality issue when the contract is signed in a particular country. So basically, until the given or the necessary point in time comes, no information is disclosed. But I guess you being reasonable investors and people. You understand, it's about competition, it's about geopolitics. So some countries have the desire and the initiative not to disclose information that in this particular city or in this particular country they are planning to implement string transportation technology and what particular site it's going to be. So in here, let's read the following. Right now, our specialists are developing the visual image of the stations and supports. Additionally, the geodesical survey and geological research has been conducted in order to understand how to build the foundation. It is necessary to determine the financial costs of the project, to come up with the optimum costs. So right now, the company issued or placed an order for the development not only of the commercial offer. I closed this piece of news, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. So the company needs to develop probably it's not even the feasibility study per se, but I guess it's the preparation for the design works. I'm not particularly sure what is the scope of the work, but I would like to highlight it for you. The work is being conducted within the contract under which payment has already been received. So this recent piece of news published on the company's website tells us that the string transportation technology, we're talking about urban transportation, is viable, has been certified, and is already in demand because it's a separate product people or cities pay for. Even at the stage when this particular technology has not yet been fully implemented, deployed in this particular site. So the product is there, it is in demand, and you can see the direct proof by this with this commercial project. But if we go back to the December 2023, and we know that the company has dozens of such projects in the pipeline. And jumping the gun here, running ahead of myself, I can tell you that it testifies to quite significant, and I'd say faithful, if I may, or significant milestones in the development of string transportation technologies, because the technology is now going into the market, makes steady steps. Well, I cannot say 7-mile strides or steps, but step by step, the technology is gaining or occupying the transportation markets of our globe, different transportation markets of our planet. And I think it's a wonderful piece of news that once again proves everything that I said during our previous meetings, that the company has now a viable technology, and this piece of news is yet another testament to that. Victor asked a question, and well, right now we are at the stage of an audit. So there is a piece of news that Unitsky String Technologies passed the audit for the financial reporting. So if you've been following the activities of the company throughout all those years, when you have been and are the investor into the technology, then you know that every 6 months a financial audit is issued regarding to the within 6 months after the end of the year, an audit is made of the financials. So summer 2024 was the period when the audit for 2023 was prepared. And an audit report is a huge document prepared by specialized people, experts who have a license to do that. It's not just a private individual, like, let me give an example. Well, any notary public can notarize a transaction, but a proper financial audit that would be globally recognized cannot be made by any random person. There are specialized licensed companies that do that. So basically, the higher the competence, the higher the authority of the company, of the auditor, the more credible the audit report results are. And the auditor company that run the audit for Unitsky String Technology is one of the leading companies in the world, which means that the company, throughout all the years of its activities in East Europe, in Belarus, it has been conducting its activities faithfully, transparently, and as far as the financials are concerned, everything is transparent, which is proved by the auditor's company, by the international recognized auditor, which again, a proof for us that everything that is happening in the implementation of the string technology goes according to the principles of transparency and openness. And now I can answer the Victor's question. If the company is now at a self-sustainable, so why it is still attracting investments, and it does not simply issue a package of shares? Well, let's be logical about it. Let's try and operate facts with facts. The self-sustainability, in other words, the cost that the company is incurring to maintain staff, to, for example, have the software and other many cost items that the company has. And if the company is able to cover those costs, then we can say that the company is self-sustainable, runs at a zero cost. But there are other cost items, such as improvement of technologies, upgrading of technologies, troubleshooting, improving of things that were developed in the first model of Unibus, for example, or Unilight. So all the time, works are being conducted in order to upgrade the existing technologies. In parallel, works are being conducted, for example, we cannot see right now the ready-to-use high-speed transportation right now, but what we can see is that the rolling stock has been implemented, tested, and is already running. And it was presented at the Expo 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so it's Trans 2018, but we haven't yet seen it run at 500 kilometers yet. But in order to develop this kind of technology, you need additional funding. So, dear friends, when you ask questions about the cost and self-sustainability, it's one thing. The company runs at self-sustainability. But when we talk about upgrading of the old models or development of new models, this is a completely new cost item. And Dr. Unitsky already covered that part. Therefore, as far as the IPO is concerned, we're going to touch upon this topic too later in the meeting, but not right now. Another thing that I wanted to draw your attention to, just give me a moment, I will go back here. On the 4th of July, like literally a week ago, it was published. Probably many of you already know that in UST company, there is a scientific technical council chaired by the general designer of the company, Dr. Unitsky. And this event is held regularly. And let me put it this way, it allows bringing the technology to a new level in terms of its promotion in the international market. in terms of exhibiting innovations, showing off innovations. And what's interesting here is the specialists of the company, they say that a second council was held in 2024, and the Scientific Technical Council became, in Unitsky string technology, an important collegial body that directs, organizes, and coordinates scientific activities of the company. Within the council, UST employees develop the scientific solutions for the development of the product. So I think it is quite interesting, quite important for us. There was a precedent that happened last year when a private company, a private body, I'm talking about closed joint stock company String Technologies, which is a for-profit organization, but that company obtained the status of an R&D institute, which is quite nonsensical, at least in the territory of the Republic of Belarus, when a private institution achieves or gains the status of an R&D institute. It happens very rarely, and the closed joint stock company String Technologies is a unique case. So in other countries, and in that region in particular, and in other regions, it is very seldom that a private company gets such a status. Usually, R&D status is achieved by state-owned companies, but this particular company in the territory of Belarus achieved that status, which shows that a lot of engineering work has been performed with relation to the development and implementation of the innovations. And it shows the entire path from blueprints to certification to go into the market. So my question, dear friends, is addressed to those investors, platform clients who are saying, where are the results? Where are those things that we want to see? But things implemented over the last years, like more than tens of different rolling stocks deployed, more than around 10 different paths and ways and strings implemented, and other designs implemented by Dr. Unitsky. Is it not achievement enough for you? I don't know. When I hear such comments, when people say, and I read quite a lot of such comments, like Maxim is just beating around the bush, and he's simply repeating the news that is published on the UST website, on Dr. Unitsky's website, is just empty talk, etc., etc. I don't know, dear friends. Maybe you're waiting from me and from our platform for me to come out and say, dear friends, dear colleagues, on this particular date, on this particular year, we are all going to receive dividends, this much dividend, because A, B, and C happened. I'm sure it's going to happen sooner or later. Moreover, I think it's gonna happen sooner rather than later, much sooner that we can envision it. However, the way the technology, string transportation technology, is going to develop depends on the various factors, and not just whether the string transportation technology is going to be implemented as such. It has already been implemented and deployed as such. I already told you last time that the company has 2 commercial products already. We've crossed that barrier. We've crossed that Rubicon, that river. The string technology is viable. Remember 2014, 2018, do have investors from those years, investors who came in 2014, 2017. Please remember, go back then, like go down the memory lane, and remember what people were saying with regards to Dr. Unitsky. What in those people's opinion, or let me call them haters' opinions, or malignant people, what they were saying back then in 2014, 2017. Anyone can remember? And please tell me in the chat what those people were saying to us when we gave them an offer, when we proposed they join our movement. What did they say back then? Lots of negativity, Yuri says. Do you remember specifically what kind of negativity? So Alexander says that it's not going to happen during our lifetime, that it's not gonna go, that is gonna, that is, it's a scam, hype, it's a yet another Ponzi scheme, etc., etc., fraud, etc., etc. So right now, it's 2024. Is there a single person out of those people who said that this technology won't work, that they are right? Yuri said that some people were saying it's not a feasible project. So I remember all of those comments. Someone says that you're crazy, this is not realistic. Maybe something like that might happen in 30 years or more, or I don't know whether anyone needs that and the transportation giants and tycoons will not allow you to implement this technology. So if you call those people and show them what has been done, so achieved so far, what do you think their reaction is going to be? And I'm sure Victor gave an interesting comment. They will say it's too late for them to join. A very good bullet point, and I'm going to rebut it. I'm going to give you a counter argument. But yeah, of course, people can have this opinion that it's too late for them to join. But if you call those people and you show them what the company has achieved so far, they are going to be astounded, literally flabbergasted. Let me give you a simple example. And I'm not going to give names here, first names or last names, but those people who are following now, they're saying that your managers are going to set you up and abandon you. Well, I think I can be called a manager because I'm doing some of the managerial work in my line of duty. But this is not about us. We have nothing to do with the payouts, with the payment of dividends and the implementation of the technology. What we can do is we can speed up the process by increasing the fundraising. So I lost the train of my thought. So what I wanted to say is that, remember, you all know the country where the Eco Techno Park is, and everyone was waiting for the administration of the country to support the technology, to show some loyalty to the technology, and it never happened. We've been waiting and waiting, and the government of the host country did not show any support. But did you follow the news, especially from that country? Did you find anything interesting? Anyone? No, I'm not talking about dividends. Anyone read the news from Belarus about the Eco Techno Park and the string technology in general? No, no one? Really? Okay, let me. Piotr is right. He's saying that there will be a string road from Minsk and the satellite city of Minsk. So the leader of the country, after seeing the prototypes and the certification and everything, which is proof of the words that I already said during my broadcast, that the string transportation technology is already viable as a commercial product. And the country that hosts the first eco-techno park, its administration, the government, has already mentioned it. It doesn't mean that tomorrow they're going to start building the string road or there is a commercial project already in place, but the level of recognition and the credibility of string technology company under the leadership of Dr. Yunitsky is now at a completely different level. So going back in time, haters, people who didn't believe us, who told us in 2014, 2017 that it's all nonsense, cannot say that anymore. But if a person says that white is black or black is white, probably they are colorblind and they are beyond help. I don't know whether you can treat that kind of disease, the kind of color blindness, but we cannot help those people. But at least reasonable people cannot say anymore that string transportation technology isn't viable, isn't working. We already have ready to use commercial products. So the next bullet point that many of you also mentioned is why, let me bring it up here. So Piotr shared the link, you can check it. I don't want to distribute it or go into details while I'm on air. So, and some people might call it nonsense or empty talk anyways, but I would like to ask you, Acer, what did you want to hear about? So probably empty talk is the kind of words that you use with your friends, but we're talking here, we have a discussion among investors in string technologies. We're talking about the achievements, prospects, and the platform that we're all using. So please tell me, Acer, what do you want to hear from me? That tomorrow you're going to receive dividends? No, I'm not in a position to tell you that. So please clarify what you mean by saying that it's all empty talk. So you called me like empty talker, and I told you right now about the specific facts and achievements by the company over the last week or 2 weeks since our last meeting. And I need the clients of our platform to understand that Dr. Yunitsky put a lot of efforts and resources into making those achievements. He literally took the path that is taken by a handful of people on the entire planet. And the user with the nickname Acer, well, at least you could use your real name and then clarify what you meant. So regarding the achievements and results and empty talk, as you call it, etc., etc. So let's just try and understand whether people understand what our platform is doing and what the company owned by GTI is doing, which is basically the string transportation technology, and we are just shareholders. So let's split it into different categories, because people might say again that is we're talking about nothing here, empty talk, etc., etc. So GTI, what does it do? So how many people do I have in this room? Just give me a second. I'm gonna take a look. I'm going to stop screen sharing. We have like 150 people here. So in order to get rid all of those repeated questions, whether I'm talking facts, real talk here, or empty talk, so we need to see who is responsible for what and what is the scope of responsibility of each party involved. So it's been 10 years since we are investors in the string transportation technology. The starting point is January 2014. So for how many years have you been investors into this technology? If 7 years, write 7 years. If 10 years, write 10 years. It means you joined in 2014. For example, it's been 9 years for me and I joined it. 10 years for me and I joined. Okay, people are saying 9 years, 9 years. Okay. Okay, but for some reason, I cannot write the answer in the chat. I can tell you it's 10 years for me. Alia says 9 years. By the way, hello. Right, pleased to see you. So we are all here old timers, veterans. Some people are saying 6, 7 years. The shortest period I saw was 5 years. 5 years, yeah. So we don't have here even freshly baked investors, freshly joined investors. 8 years. Okay. So we don't have anyone, let's say, younger than 5 years. So someone says, my husband joined 2 years ago. So as far as I can see, we're all old timers here. Great. It means that you understand where you are, you know what you invested in. And now my question to you is, someone says 3 years. Okay. I guess it's an investor of ours, our client investor who have been with us 3 years. Someone's husband is 2 years. Okay, so my question to you, what does Global Transport Investment Company does? And every one of you is in the registry of this company. All of you are shareholders in one of the holding companies. You are in the registry. There are several such holdings. And basically, that holding forms the structure of the company GTI. So my question to you, what does Global Transport Investment Company do? And I'm going to put it in very simple terms today, but I first would like to understand whether you understand, whether you are clear about what our company is actually doing, the GTI company is doing. Koroleva Tatiana is the person behind the nickname Acer. It's very good that you've been an investor since 2014 and you're reading the news about the development of the technology. And you're saying that we're beating around the bush, that I'm talking, like engaging in the empty talk for like 2 years or 2 hours and so. So right now I asked the question, what company is responsible for what? So first my question was, what is GTI, Global Transport Investment Company, is responsible for? And after you answer me this question, I will continue. So what is the scope of activity of GTI? So if you have been investors since 2014, you will be able to answer me this question. What does GTI do? Well, we're trying to follow a certain logic which will allow us to answer the question by Victor. How was that question? Why the money spent on purchasing the assets, or the assets haven't been turned into shares yet, something like that. And meanwhile, please give your answers. Oleg, we are planning to having an interview next week. I'm waiting for our colleague. By the way, regarding your question, I've received an answer today, and they told me that they were trying to discuss this proposal, this issue with you in person. I will forward it to you. Okay, someone says investments. Yelena says GTI owns the intellectual property. The purpose of the company is creating favorable conditions for the investors. Okay, you are right. In part, it does own the intellectual property, and we are in that registry. The creation of the favorable environment conditions for the investors. Well, this is quite a vague definition. But GTI company is a venture fund? No. GTI is not a venture fund. Venture capital fund. No. So, dear friends, I was, for some reason, kicked out of the room. And I am sorry, I forgot to tell you that it was going to happen. It happened last time as well. So I'm back online. Everything is fine. And I hope the connection is back on. Let's do the sound and video check. Give me a 10 if everything is fine, and we will continue. And I remember I was asking you the question about the what our company actually does, GTI company actually does. So GTI company is based on the intellectual property developed by Dr. Unitsky, Anatoly Unitsky. And this intellectual property is based on dozens of patents, contracts, and many other legal and intellectual documents that has a certain value, appreciated, evaluated, and at more than $400 billion after the technology is capitalized, brought to the market, and capitalized over time. So we received that intellectual property. We received a share in that company, and that company founded, if we're talking about the engineering activities, founded a number of companies with the mother company, the head company, the main company for engineering, which is called Closed Joint Stock Company, String Technologies. And in that company, for several years, received funds, money, to make sure that this technology is developed, tested, certified, so on and so forth. Dozens of design bureaus have been created, which created certain assets, proved by the audits that have been conducted over the last years, and the results are publicly available. However, the company's balance sheet has dozens of thousands of square meters of premises, equipment, cars, machinery, etc., among its assets. Eco Technopark, which has several tracks with more than 10 types of rolling stock. This conglomerate also includes a huge number of legal entities, and all of it is our co-property. We are also co-owners of that. And the question asked by Victor in the beginning, why assets purchased by the money collected, is we're not co-owners of that assets, we're not shareholders. The answer to your question is you are the actual co-owner of all those assets proportionate to the investments you made and shares you purchased at the discount in force back then. So we are actual co-owners of all of that. So Global Transport Investment Company is the main company that owns the intellectual property and the material assets that we received as a result of our investments. Now the question is, what do we do? The RSW Systems platform. Are we implementing the string transportation technology? Are we deploying the technology or bringing it to the market by participating in various negotiations to make sure that the commercial projects are realized? Are we the developers of the string rail ramps? Are we other kind of employees, workmates, or an entity that has to do with the implementation and deployment of the technology. So my chat is now empty. So I think it was Yelena who, with the nickname Acer, asked this question. I think her name was Yelena, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry for forgetting your name, because with the power off, my chat has been emptied. So it was Tatiana. Okay, so our platform, RSW Systems, our colleagues from Skyway community, are they the entity that is related to everything that I've just listed? But I think it's a rhetorical question. So why such structures as RSW Systems, Skyward Community? Before that, there was another partner, investment partner. Why they exist? In order to promote this technology and to launch the crowdfunding process. So the conclusion that we should be making here, and which is also, and we will gradually move to the question asked by Tatiana, why we're talking about it. Our clients are split into different technologies, and I mentioned it on numerous occasions. We have passive clients and active clients. Passive clients, are people that became co-owners of the technology of the string transportation and are just waiting for its capitalization. But we need to understand here that we are not directly responsible for the deployment and implementation. What we can do by our activities is to speed up the implementation process, to implement next stages of the implementation technology. And we can do it by more actively promoting and attracting new people in order to raise more funds using the crowdfunding principle. That's it. So on our platform, we have passive and active investors. Those who are passive investors should not be, I guess, actively following our platform, but just actively follow the news published by the Dr. Unitsky's website and UST website. You need to bookmark Uscovery, it's an Arabic company, the UST, Dr. Unitsky website. You should be subscribed to Unitsky Engineers YouTube channel, etc., etc. So everything related to technology will be there. As for everything related to the technology plus crowdfunding, it's us. So during my meetings, conference that I conduct, my task is to showcase the achievements by the technology, the results, because not everyone even knows how Dr. Unitsky's website looks like, that it even exists. And not everyone knows that he has a YouTube channel or an Instagram page, because lots of interesting information is published there, because Dr. Unitsky does not only deal with string technology, but also innovations in the agrarian market, agricultural market, Uterra project, for example, and everything now everything that Unitsky has in his portfolio is mainly three projects: Uterra technology, string technology, and a separate team that deals with the digitalization, and then spaceway technology, which is rocket-free space exploration, which has made significant progress in the recent years, and on many annual conferences. Anatoly Unitsky created a huge boom, informational boom. He was able to engage a lot of loud names, prominent names in the space exploration area to get as many followers and advocates of his technology as possible, people who support and advocate his technology. So, dear friends, let's answer one question here. Are you a passive participant or an active participant? And I will not criticize you for your choice. Everyone has the right to choose but they also have the right to ask questions. And I have nothing against it. I fully understand why you are concerned with it and where those questions come from. But we're all adults here, reasonable, grown up people. And I'm sure you understand that if the company said that they did this amount of work at this particular stage and they promised to do something and did it, it means that they are true to their word. Sometimes there might be delays in the schedule, in the implementation. There are objective reasons to that. And sometimes there was lack of funding, but costs were optimized. In this case, still the promises have been kept, although with a delay. Some people said last time that they promised the IPO in 2025 or 24 based on the technology development stages, etc., etc. So basically, the IPO could have happened if everything went according to plan. But the transition from one stage to another stage depended on two components, aspects. First, it's funds, money, and the second one is the works performed. There was a regular lack of funding, which is always also a disadvantage. But nevertheless, the scope of work was performed due to cost optimization by Dr. Unitsky. But because of that, there were delays, so it caused delays. But nevertheless, it boosted credibility. Anatoly's credibility. So we have two pluses and one minus: cost optimization and performance of works against lack of funding. So to say that the IPO was promised even in 2018, it was very optimistic scenario, which was based on the fact that the necessary amount of money would be raised, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. However, with the way lesser amount of money, the same scope of work was nevertheless performed, taking a little bit more time, which is a huge achievement. And I'm sure when the first edition of the milestones was developed, it was in 2013 when the business plan was elaborated. A lot of indirect factors had not been taken into consideration, like hidden stones. And it's okay. Like, let me give you an example. For example, when you do repairs in your house or building a house, very often the original budget is way different from the final costs, starting from the budget itself and all the way down to the actual interior design. For example, you go to the shop and you planned to buy the construction materials and one price, and it was based on one exchange rate of the dollar or euro. But when you actually make the purchase, the price might have grown twice, double that. Then some time passes and you realize that I could have done different this particular item of my work, or I could have put the washing machine in my kitchen plus the dishwasher there. But you didn't think about it before. But as a result of this optimization, you saved some money, and probably you spent more money in another room. So it's just, I'm giving you an analogy using the house repairs, the house construction, to show you that not everything goes according to plan. But when we talk about the birth of a new technology that has not been seen before on the planet Earth, and that's how it is, we shouldn't be surprised when delays in the schedule happen. It's absolutely normal. I fully realize that the birth of new technology takes not 3 or 5 years, but way more. And if you have been investors since 2014, 2015, remember what we did have back then, in what kind of country we had to start it all, and when the actual construction works started. And the actual construction work started in 2016. And how can you count on having the IPO in 2018 when the construction started in 2016? So it wasn't, I guess, far-sighted on your side if you sold yourself the idea that 2 years after the first pit was dug, you would have an IPO. Then in this case, you should have done your due diligence, and by going to IPO, the company needs to be operational and for several years, and then the financial audit of its activities should be submitted. So it was simply unrealistic to do it in 2 years. So the global transport investment company that we invested and whose shareholders we are will give clarity what's going to happen in the near future. I'm sure that we all will receive the answer to that question. So I hope this particular piece of information is clear. Or will you tell me that I'm again engaged in empty talking and I'm beating around the bush here? So answer me this question, and while you're answering, I will answer Yelena's question that you always mention lack of funding. Probably we should optimize the fund's costs. Well, look, Yelena, thing is, up to 40% of money goes to the marketing. At first it was 50%, then the costs were optimized and it became 40%. And those 40% allow us to cover the marketing costs related to the activities of the active partners, which is normal, which is standard procedure. Let me give you elementary statistics here. Comparison with linear business. Let's take Coca-Cola company, McDonald's company, any other company that works on the international market by selling their products and services. They spend a lot of money, colossal amounts on advertising. If Anatoly, instead of using crowdfunding model, used traditional promotion and didn't allow using the affiliate marketing for the promotion, we wouldn't have such a huge achievement and result. If people weren't earning their commission from promotion, their motivation would run out in 3-4 months. But since a person realizes that they have motivation, financial stimulus to attract more people, build their careers, then that particular motivation will keep that person going by allowing that person to earn commission. So, for example, Yelena, picture yourself buying a very deluxe apartment in a newly built building, and the developer tells you, Yelena, if you bring in 5 more people, 5 more buyers of new apartments, we will give you a huge discount on your freshly bought apartment. And you will be all emotional. You will have good sound proofing, nice view from the window. You brought in 5 people, you got your discount, and that's it. You wouldn't be promoting this anymore, right? Because that's it. You will not be given any more discounts. In our case, it's different. We have a network of agents who have the stimulus to keep promoting the project. So the question is how long it can go and what kind of prospects are there. And this is another another bullet point of our discussion today. So someone says that someone mentions cigar clubs. during meetings with investors. I don't really understand what you mean by cigar clubs. Please clarify. So the question that I asked you, Yelena said, it's quite obvious you're saying elementary things. It's very weird that some people don't understand it. Okay, but do you think that the things I told you before are empty talk or doesn't convey any meaning? So what I mean is GTI company that we, particular our platform, is promoting, doing the marketing, and GTI is doing investment and technology development. So you shouldn't be waiting from me the information about dividends. So we're here. We saw that the youngest investor in our audience is a person who invested 3 years ago. All the rest here are old-timers and veterans. And Alexander shared his opinion as well here. Thank you. We have 150 people here, dear friends. Please be more active. Give me your feedback, because I need to understand that I'm not talking to myself only. Are we going to receive dividends from all types of transportation? Well, we're talking about dividends from the cargo, urban, and high-speed transportation. As for the space project, no, it's a separate project, and we have no relation to it whatsoever. It's a separate project initiated by Dr. Yunitsky. Anyone else? Guys, dear friends, give me your feedback. Meanwhile, while you're writing your feedback, I wanted to ask you what do you think about this? During our last meeting, I mentioned that the string transportation technology is the only large-scale technology that was funded by crowdfunding, and in the 20th century and throughout the entire history. And it is indeed the biggest project out there. And one lady wrote, Maxim, you're not entirely honest. You're not entirely honest. There are other projects out there. I understand what projects you mean. You're talking about the company, one of the companies that developed an electrical wheel. Another company, for example, is developing software. Unfortunately for you, for those who wrote this to me, you need to understand the closed joint stock company have their own motor wheel. Probably the actual technical term is different. Probably Dr. Yunitsky will criticize me for using this particular technical term, motor wheel. As far as the motor wheel is concerned, Dr. Yunitsky developed the concept many, many years ago, and what is now used in the rolling stock that are related to string transportation. I personally saw the wheel at the expo in Belarus. I saw how it is produced. It is a very small part of what was developed by the engineers of the string transportation company. It's just like a very small unit of the entire complex. The software, dear friends, well, just think about it. How much time and effort was needed to develop the intellectual property, the software for the rolling stock, for the security and safety systems, for the item recognition in front of the car. What should be the response time of the rolling stock if there is an animal or a human being on the track? Remember this video where Dr. Yunitsky is running ahead of the rolling stock, and the rolling stock sees it and stops, where Dr. Initsky used himself as a guinea pig in this experiment, trusting so much in his own security and safety system. Remember that video a couple of years ago back? So the companies that you mentioned, it's just a small drop in the ocean. It's just a speck of dust, what the example that you gave. But the scale of the string transportation technology invested by the crowdfunding is one of a kind. If I'm mistaken, then give me, like, in capital letters, the name of the company, of the website, and we will together check the amount of money raised and the capitalization amount. If you just think about it, how capitalization happens, how it occurs, you will realize that the string transportation technology, in terms of its capitalization and potential for the next 50 years, will surpass Google and Apple taken together. So I'll explain why. So here's an Apple company product. I'm very much fond of Apple. I have the Apple computer, keyboard, mouse, phone, earbuds, everything is cool. And it is evaluated at trillion of dollars right now. So how is it evaluated? Does this company have material assets that would be equal to the amount of its evaluation? Whether its assets actually cost trillion of dollars. We're not like professional investors here, okay? So I'm just asking you simple things. Does Apple company own actual assets that would cost trillion of dollars? Of course not. Google company? Neither. Facebook company, Amazon, and the top 10 countries in the sector, none of them have assets that would actually cost the amount of money they are evaluated at. Now let's take the string transportation technology. The intellectual property alone is evaluated at $400 billion. What is the justification here? Let's be logical about it. So we have the first commercial product. It's not important whether it's going to be 3 or 10 kilometers, but the first time it appears, there will be dozens of thousands of tracks built right away in 2 to 3 years, because everyone is waiting for the first. But when the first happens, then immediately expansion will start, and the increase of staff will happen. If they have 4,000 people now, immediately after the implementation of the first project, they will have dozens of thousands, because they will need newly trained personnel. So every single cent, every single dollar will be backed up by centimeters, meters, and kilometers of tracks, actual assets. Add here stations, which are commercial property. Add here rolling stock, support pillars, safety systems, and everything associated with it. And to all of it, add the intellectual property, plus add the market interest. Now, my question, what is the potential evaluation of the string transportation technology is? Just let's be logical about it. And I thought about it in March, April 2014, when this thought first occurred to me. And then in July 2024, I already can witness the scale, when the company already has ready-to-use products. And now the interest from potential clients is growing. So this is the transitional period from venture capital company, innovation company, into investment company. And we are at this break point, at this pivotal point. So when people ask what has been done over these years, dear friends, a lot of things have been done, achieved so far. Colossal scope of work has been done. But if this is still not enough for some people, then guys, you must be living in a different reality. And you think that innovations and new technologies are born in a couple of minutes, that it's a matter of couple of minutes. But it's not a crypto market for you when you can create a token in a couple of hours by writing the code and Bob's your uncle. No, we're talking about the real sector of economy. And most importantly, we're talking about a project that could be the beginning of an entire industry. And I would like all of you to fully realize that and realize that you're part of it. And when people are hating, when people are asking, making comments, criticize, of course you're entitled to do that. You have the right to do that. But please do your own analysis, do your own diligence, and you will realize that nobody wants to cheat you out of your money or try to unlawfully gain your investments and so on and so forth. Everything that has been promised to be done has been done, and the work is moving on. So to recap everything, why we're doing this kind of meetings, organizing this kind of conferences, in order to deliver, convey all the information in the most understandable and clear way, everything that is happening, the information about what's happening in the string technology sector. And we're also the platform that promotes this type of transportation, string transportation. We are a platform that allows people to become co-owners of the string transportation technology. Third, we are a platform that lays right now the foundation for the operations within the crowdfunding system for dozens of years ahead. If we, in just 10 years, showed to the entire world that we can develop an entire industry, then it will be a piece of cake for us to fund individual projects within this industry. And I will show you the prospects of multi-level business opportunities of the agents network. And I want you to understand that you can build your career with us. You can build your future with us. If you want to professionally learn how to make sales in this area, I'm talking about big sales, to be able to work with big investors, then you should look our way. And that's why we're going to have 2.5 months preparation. We've been already preparing. I already told you that we developed the terms of reference for our new platform, which is going to be called Micron Global. Micron Global is going to be a new crowdfunding platform. It's going to have a new back office. It's going to have a new marketing plan, and it's going to have a completely new approach. We now have 2.5 months to get ready. The announcement of the launch will be made on the 1st of October, plus minus. There might be some force majeure circumstances, but the preliminary launch date is going to be the 1st of October. So what's gonna happen before that time? So in the next few weeks, we will be preparing for you the presentation of the new marketing plan, for you to understand what kind of a career you can build with us. Right now, we are looking for potential regional managers to join our team, representatives in different countries and regions. I already told you that we have such a representative in Kazakhstan. It's Ms. Jamila Jursimbekova. we have candidates for other regions, and now you have an opportunity to claim your place in our team and be our regional representative, to be our regional manager. We're going to have a separate meeting for such people who will submit their application. We will have a closed meeting for everyone willing to join. We already had a similar meeting, then we put it on pause because we've been waiting for our contractors to start their work. So what I wanted to say here, add here, that in order for you to actively get prepared for the new platform, when the new platform starts working, in the next few days, we're going to give you an opportunity to use an awesome discount and to prepare to increase your sales volumes, either by working with the network or by increasing your investment package, because the discounts that we're going to have within the summer promotion will be very pleasantly surprising for you. I'm talking about both with regard to active users and passive users. Passive users will be given an opportunity to enjoy a very cool bonus for the early termination of your installment plans. So we're going to have a promotion that will allow us to give a pleasant bonus to both our passive and active clients. So it's going to happen in the next couple of days. It's either the 13th or 15th of July, depending how well the whole system goes, but you can already get ready for it. In order to help you in your work, in order for us to help you to work with your new partners, next Saturday, it's going to be, let me check. It's going to be the 20th of July. We're going to have a presentation. It's not going to be a conference like this with Q&A, with news coverage, etc. No, on the 20th, we're going to have a presentation. On the 18th, we're going to have a preparatory meeting with you. We're going to have a meeting dedicated to the question, who can you invite on Saturday? So on Thursday, on the 18th of July, every single partner who wants to understand the advantages of investing into string transportation technology at this current stage should be there. Because some people think that nobody is willing to invest today, nobody is interested, etc., etc. Friends, let me disappoint you. A lot of people are showing interest, even using the discounts today. For example, in the next few months, days, we're going to have a much better discount than today. And on Thursday, I will show to you why it is still profitable to invest even today into string transportation technology, considering a very cool discount. On Thursday, we're going to have that meeting. And then on Saturday, we're going to have a very good big presentation in 3 languages too. I'm talking about presentation. It's a presentation about the string transportation technology. It's a presentation about our platform, RSW Systems, and its prospects within the new brand, Micron Global, where I'm going to show you the prospects of the development of this market for the next 5 to 10 years. So, dear friends, I wanted to add here, that's what we're going to do by the end of the month. On Thursday, you can write it down in your calendars, in your schedule. I'm going to have a similar meeting to today's, and then on Saturday, a presentation. On the 25th, we're going to have another conference, and on the 27th, a presentation. And probably there will be 3 more days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Probably we're going to have something on Monday too, depending on how active you are going to be during that period. Because, well, the essence here is, dear friends, let me tell you right away, I'm going to give you a spoiler here. The promotion that we're going to launch in the near future will not be repeated in the next 3 months until the new platform is launched. So again, there will be no similar promotions for the next 3 months. So just take a look at your portfolio right now. If you want to increase it, then decide by how much. Take a look at the new packages, at the discounts. This is as far as your personal investments are concerned. As for your friends, relatives, people you know, co-workers, remember, there were people who thought we were crazy. Call those people and tell them, remember in 2017 I told you about the string transportation technology, about its prospects, and they will tell you, well, it rings a bell. Did they achieve anything, amount to anything? And just share with them the presentation videos or Dr. Unitsky's report for 2023, and that person will be amazed with what has been done so far. And then the question is about how much they're going to invest. $100, $1,000, or $5,000. Again, it depends on the pockets and possibilities of that specific person. So to recap, dear friends, on Thursday, we are getting ready for the presentation, and on Saturday, we're going to have the presentation. Then again, on Thursday, a preparatory meeting, and then on the next Saturday, the presentation itself. So we'll have at least 4 meetings this month. Probably we're going to have a separate meeting for partners from Kazakhstan, and then partners from India. We'll have some individual separate meetings with a narrow group of people. But all of those meetings will nevertheless be held live with a recording, and they will be held in 3 languages. So, friends, I still have things to tell you, but we've almost run out of time. However, I think I already told you the most important bullet points that I wanted to convey to you. So people are keep asking questions, giving objections, asking me how we can handle objections. We will discuss all of it during our meetings. I will teach you how to do that. I will have things to tell you. I still have things to tell you, but if I start doing it, then I think I will lose my voice. We have like a 40 degrees Celsius outside, then the air conditioner brings the temperature down, but because of the difference in temperature, it has a toll on your voice. So I cannot afford myself to talk about it any longer. But we will have the objection handling part on Thursday for sure. Next. Yes, we're gonna have information about tokens, shares, everything. Don't worry. We will all have it during our interview. This month, I'm going to have this interview for sure. The exchange of shares into SWGT tokens. If you have any questions regarding the conversion of shares into SWGT tokens, write to the support. There is a specific procedure for exchange, conversion, etc. What else I wanted to tell you? So you said invite Dr. Unitsky to the interview. Well, I already mentioned this, but I will repeat it anyways. Everyone has to do what they're supposed to be doing. Anatoly has its own schedule, its own scope of responsibilities that goes beyond imaginable limits. He has like dozens design bureaus to run. Recently, he has a transatlantic flight. We are talking about the American US market with its huge potential. And it is no coincidence that the company is looking that way over the ocean. Dr. Unitsky is a very good strategist as far as the business and technologies and innovations are concerned. So I'm more than sure that his looking at this new market, new continent, has a meaning to it. There is a purpose behind it. And someone asked whether we were supposed to, should we really open a company that the Anatoly Yunitsky's group of company already includes a legal entity in that particular jurisdiction. So I can tell you that the tokens were already listed on one of the exchange at 0.017. I haven't been following the news because right now my priority is the preparation of the platform. Okay, so we had 150 people, now we have 130 people left. Give me some feedback about our today's conference. How did you like it? If you saw some empty talk in it, just tell me so. If you thought it was productive, also tell me so. But let me reiterate that my personal mission, my personal vision is what we're doing here has deep meaning, deep significance. Is not just beating around the bush. What we're doing here is we are pursuing a great cause. And every time we are marking new milestones, achievements, for example, the commercial project related news, the financial audit news was published. And I think it's a huge achievement. I'm not sure I answered all of your questions. I'm sure not all of them, but we've been talking here for almost 2 hours, 1 hour, 50 minutes. So I'm sorry if I did not cover all the questions, but we have another Thursday waiting for us. We will get ready for the presentation on Saturday. And of course, there will be the opportunity to answer other questions of yours. Ayman said that I haven't been on such conferences for several years and everything was quite interesting for me. Yeah, so welcome back, Ayman, and join our other meetings. And believe me, when we're going to present our marketing bonus plan for you, the compensation plan, you will be very pleasantly surprised. And all of the recordings of all of our conferences will be in our playlists on our channels. So, dear friends, I wish you a very nice evening. I guess it's already night in India, but to our partners in Canada and the United States, thank you very much for your attendance and have a nice day, because your day is just starting. So hugs and kisses, and let us wish luck in promoting our huge noble project. So see you on Thursday on the 18th of July. Bye-bye.